The Micro Machine Man here, presenting the genuine, original, colossally collectible, most midget miniature replicas of the real things. Micro Machines. Dramatically detailed, stupendously styled, smaller than a nut, this one or this one. And now with a totally terrific town, the new Micro Machine Super City Toolbox playset. Closed, it's a mild manner toolbox. Open, it's a Micro Machine USA. Cruise your mini Micro Machine vehicles, planes, and boats to the police station, the marina, the mini motorcycle repair shop, the gas station, the construction office, work, the real working drawbridge, highway, passenger ramp, and garage doors. Or take a Micro Machine flying machine in for a landing. Phew, this place has it all. The new Micro Machine Super City Toolbox playset from Galoob. The one and only outrageous original miniatures. Remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the...
It's that look. It's that look right there. That look, like, test me, mother. Yeah.
And then there's a little old lady.
Knives for sale.
What does Soundwave sound like without the vocalization?
Malish, this is Soundwave reporting. I have detected Autobots in the vicinity. Well, then you know what to do, Soundwave. Summon the Decepticons!
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Talk Hard is here, folks. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to a wonderful Tuesday. We get to talk Transformers on a Tuesday. Talk Hard. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Thank you, everybody out there, for joining us and with us. What an incredible group of gentlemen who just love their Transformers. I'm so happy to have everybody here. Loki, my brother, what's going on, man?
What is up?
I know you are big into your transforming robots, man. You excited about this one, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of the greatest, saddest... kid just got my universe destroyed movies of all time. So lot of crying leaving that theater. A lot of crying, a lot of kids crying.
All right. Let's get to that. Ironcaster, my friend, thanks for doing this. It's going to be a great one to have on our list. What was it like for you watching this first time?
Well, first off, let me come in by saying, of course, ba weep grana weep nitty bong. Oh, this has been just an absolute delight to come back and revisit. This is one of those movies that I've watched a ton as a kid. Even like before I even had seen the show, like this movie I saw a ton hang out at my buddy Joey's house when I was like 6, 7 years old. So I didn't know who Optimus was, but I knew he died.
Gotcha. All right, and with us is our special guest. That's right, Pacific 414. Mike is here. Brother, you and I talked about this and having you on for this Talk Hard. We didn't even have a date. It was like 2 years ago when we were very first interactions. Like, dude, I will have you back and talk to everybody about this movie and what it meant to you with the Transformers.
I was 8 years old on that August day that Transformers movie came out, and I tell you what, even though I still enjoy watching the movie, I can still remember my feeling watching it when I'm seeing Optimus face off of Megatron, and then, of course, when we find out what happens to Optimus in the movie, which even the writer himself, Ron Friedman, protested against Hasbro about. Said, no, you cannot do this to Optimus Prime. He's a hero to many kids.
But they did it anyway, and every single version that exists of this strip and of this movie, and there's like about a half a dozen versions of this movie, and every single one, Hasbro said, you kill Optimus Prime. There is no getting away from this, avoiding this. You will kill Optimus Prime. Doesn't matter what version of the movie you're writing, you're going to kill him.
Yeah, they
as we all
wanted
know,
to discontinue the product line of 84 and 85 and focus primarily on these new characters.
and of course, as we all know, Hasbro learned from this and never made any mistakes that would upset their key customer base ever again.
Wow.
Oh no, they wouldn't try this twice now, would they? And if you've seen season 3, you know what I'm referring to.
Well, so I was even more traumatized, guys. I was 14. I was not massively into Transformers. We couldn't afford Transformers, but we had a lot of them collectively through friends and my brother and their friends, whatever. I was so excited about seeing this in theaters, and I was telling Mike before we started, I still don't enjoy watching this movie, and not because I don't think it's great. I love this movie, but I have to relive the pain of 13 and 14. Watching all these characters die, even Megatron. I just the whole process of watching all this stuff happen. I'm just like, I don't enjoy it, and it makes me angry to know that this is like a Hasbro mandate from back in the day. Like, oh, we're gonna discontinue our line. Just the stupidity of people, and we still have this going on today, obviously. And it's just a really hard thing. And now that we've had this sort of like it's the 40th anniversary, we've had this new resurgence with these great comic books. Some of the new reissued of the toys are really pretty cool. I'm happy to talk about it with you guys to talk hard. I'm telling you what, just look at that. It's so good. So much fun. Yeah. Just great stuff. It's great stuff to get to. So I can't wait. Oh, there we go. Mike's going to show it off. I wanted to make that big. That's a G1, right, Mike?
Yes. My original G1 that I got on my 9th birthday.
That's great.
And yes, he still transforms.
All the stories that little camper could tell.
Battles between the Autobots and Decepticons. And GoBots. Awesome. Yes, I had GoBots and I threw them in there. I didn't care.
Yeah, I remember I tell people all the time, I said I had my Star Wars figure, I had Micronauts, and Micronauts had these incredible spring-loaded vehicles and stuff, so they were so awesome to use because they would just shoot. I mean, there was all sorts of cool things. Battlestar Galactica action figures and their ships and stuff. As a kid, you just didn't care about these kind of stuff. But look at that. Oh, it's so good. I know Loki has a glorious collection of stuff. I don't even know what's in the current setup, my friend, but at some point we'll have to look. Yeah. Hold on, get it bigger. Oh, he's beautiful.
Oh, nice.
That's the show, the cell-shaded MP10 Optimus. So he's cartoon, cell-shaded all the way around.
Even his butt.
Even his butt, and his axe, and his rifle, and everything else. Matrix is in there. It's cell-shaded. Yeah, they did pretty much everything. It's my favorite Optimus. So as far as like what I own, it's probably my favorite Optimus. I've got a Year of the Dragon, Year of the Horse, Year of the something Optimus in my storage closet that is a lot bigger than that. So, but he's my favorite.
So I know everyone enjoys rewatching the movie, even though you kind of know what's going to happen and all those kinds of things. What is the emotional roller coaster that you have now, knowing all of that? How do you sort of like deal with that? Because for me, I still had a pretty negative experience. I don't enjoy watching all of that. I get through I love it. First off, let me just say the animation in this is just so exceptional. I mean, I just can't believe how good it is.
Well, I'd say that honestly, the strongest thing that keeps this movie going, it's that Stan Bush soundtrack. That score from him. Then you also got a little bit of Weird Al in there as well. You know, The Touch, Dare, just all these little rocket hits that just are part of my regular go-to for tracks.
All right. Look at you. That's the same thing. Same for you. Is that kind of where you're at? Did we lose Loki? He may went to go get a toy. All right. What about you, Mike? Is it the soundtrack? Is it the music? What carries it for you, my friend?
It's the soundtrack. It's, seeing the Transformers that I grew up with, because as far as I'm concerned, this is really the only Transformers movie you need to watch.
Okay. All right. Well, let's say hi to this beautiful chat. We've ignored them long enough. We could keep talking amongst ourselves, I'm sure. But let's say hello. Baron is here, heading things off. He goes, "Hey, GoBot stream." Indeed. We will have to schedule a GoBot stream. I am pro all bots. I am pro bots. I don't. Yes, in their time, many of us did frown on GoBots in a way, but we were also not turning our nose up to getting a GoBot. So there's this guy. He's leading the way. It's awesome to see you, my friend. Yes, so good. Your Poriel's in the house. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing well. You got the touch. You've got the power. Yeah. Slasher's here. Robots in disguise. Indeed. All hail Megatron, the ruler of the universe. Mike, Comic Relief Crusader, also a massive Transformer fan himself. Transformer Party, and I wasn't invited. Laugh out loud. Sorry, dude. I mean, listen, this was not an exclusive thing. It's like, first of all, I don't like having more than 4. But Mike, I know I'm talking about both mics. But yeah, no, Pacific and I had kind of said whenever this happens. So that happens from time to time. There's people that have sort of like a reserved seat for a certain movie or whatever when it comes up. There's no hard feelings. You and I are going to talk for you anyway. So, yeah, Ironcaster recommended you as well. I said, yeah, I know, but yeah. So if any of us weren't going to make it, we're probably going to have Mike to fill in. So Penny headed off to church, but he will definitely be checking things out. She's always great supporting the channel and things like that. So. But yeah, it's great to see everybody popping in here. Chris Persia, there he is, man, holding down the wrench from the Great White North. Appreciate you, my friend, so much. And then yes, the YouTube loves to give away memberships. So yes, I did my giveaway there. So make sure you stay plugged in there for the early access on some videos. Some of those have not quite as much as usual, but yeah, there's some early access there for some folks on that. Penny was gifted a membership. Pat S, Connie, Dempsey, and Claude. So great to have you guys continuing to be members, and I love that YouTube lets me do that to kind of give folks some better ways to connect with me and talk with me. Lovely Sherry is here. Great to see you, lady. Hope you're doing well. It's awesome. Let's see here. Ironcaster saying hey to everybody. Jacob Ironside's there, brother. Awesome. Great to see you, my friend. All right. Slasher says, I think it's what makes this movie so iconic is that it was very last movies Orson Welles did because he had become the iconic actor. Agreed. Orson Welles is kind of like a forgotten name. We talk about the greatness of this movie. A lot of folks don't remember to keep that in mind. So, yeah, Baron's trolling everybody. Indeed. Hot rod references. Cool.
By the way, Optimus gets better. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, can't keep a robot down. I noticed that the movie has many references. Yeah, indeed. There's female Autobot, which has the bunny or similar. 100% inspiration there. They were totally tapping into our Star Wars love for sure. They're hardly alone. Almost anything during this era was trying to tap into some sort of Star Wars element, if you could.
Well, sort of even with sort of the relationship you kind of see with Hot Rod, Springer, like that, with Hot Rod, RC, Springer. There's kind of that Han, Luke, and Leia kind of relationship between them all. The way Hot Rod and RC will kind of throw a little bit of stuff back and forth at each other. You can see a little bit of Han Solo in Hot Rod there.
Agreed.
Originally, she was supposed to be Wheeljack's assistant that he didn't want because guys over girls, and girls don't need to be a part of anything. And by the end of the movie, she was supposed to have earned his trust and his love.
Also, the original design for Orion Pax was actually meant for Ultra Magnus. If you've ever watched the episode War Dawn in season 2 of G1 Transformers, Orion Pax, that design was supposed to be Ultra Magnus. And then through all the revisions, they decided to go with the Convoy car carrier version, which was basically Optimus Prime, just now hauling the car carrier trailer.
Awesome. Bobby does point out that this will be playing in theaters in May, so make sure you have that earmarked if you can make it back out to theaters, that 40th anniversary thing, and I'll get stuff out there for you guys. Love that. Love supporting theaters with this old stuff. Love it. So very, very shocking. There's a little bit of profanity. There was a couple curse words. I know of one in particular. Yeah, that would have been a big deal at the time. I don't remember it being a big deal, but I'm sure it was to somebody. I don't know. I kind of even remember as a kid being talked about as sort of something of a big deal. I don't think the movie was it wasn't a massive box office success or anything. So I don't think it just carved out enough oxygen in the room to be a big deal for that era of things. Obviously, Top Gun was stealing all of the headlines and stuff like that. It was still in theaters at the time, things like that. And then of course you have Aliens coming out a week or two after this. So it's like it just didn't get a consumption of the media attention for that profanity or like for it to be that big a deal. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that Top Gun was still playing in the theater at the time,
Yes.
Pops, because that's the movie that my parents went to see while I went and saw Transformers the movie. So they come out of Top Gun, they're all smiles, happy. I'm sitting there on the bench and I still got tears in my eyes because of what happens to Optimus. And they're all, Michael, what's wrong? I said, Optimus Prime died.
Wow. So there's a lot of good movies in theaters. Loki, you saw this when it opened? You didn't go see Howard the Duck again? Because Howard the Duck was also in theaters when this dropped. I know you love your Howard the Duck.
No, I'd bugged the shit out of my dad to get him to take me to see this. And then, of course, you know, we all know what happens then. Mass exodus of children from theater in tears or throwing up because they're so upset or whatever. And then I get asked, do you want to leave? And I'm like, no, I want to see what the hell happens. I was only like 5 or 6. So, I mean, I wanted to see what the hell happened. Yeah, Prime died, but I wanted to see what was next. And Megatron didn't die. So, and then Prime comes back kind of, but doesn't, but he kind of does. And you've got all this extra stuff in there that really makes the movie what it is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know.
Then okay, go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead, Pops. Go ahead.
I was going to get caught up on a little bit of chat. Needs of Decepticon outweighs the needs of everyone else. Again, yes. Yeah, I know, Bear. We're calling you out, brother. Let's see. Canadian release of this movie has Star Wars has scroll at the beginning. Oh, I did not know that. I'm sure you Transformers guys know that, but I did not know that. So.
I didn't know about that, but I'm curious if that was on the 20th anniversary box set release or the 4K Steelbook.
I actually have the Rhino VHS release of Transformers movie, and on that VHS release, it has it.
Oh,
okay, very cool, very cool. So I think that in the beginning, especially that opening, I don't know, Ironcast, you got anything ready to share or not? Because for me, I get consumed into that first 30 minutes or so. I mean, the 30, 40 minutes, it just goes by like a blink of an eye because the animation is so good. Again, I'm full of hot takes on this movie because, again, a lot of negative experiences. I prefer the score rather than the pop songs. So for me, I'm in the minority with that. I'm okay with that. But I will also say it doesn't deter me from like blitzing right through the first 30, 40 minutes of just great stuff, great content. But yeah, man, I just love. I mean, we cannot get any decent animation like this anymore. It's almost just hard to watch because it just makes you want more of this. Look at that. It's just tremendous at every level.
Great detail. Great
incredible.
Detail.
Well, even in some of just like how these general shots of like the backgrounds, I am drooling over them. Just these are beautiful. This is the stuff you want to see. I want to see like all this crazy alien like stuff that looks like it would have been something out of a Jack Kirby comic.
Yeah, I actually had a friend who was really he was probably the big Transformer nerd of my group, like, you know, like 6 or 7 of us all through college or whatever. And we went to a show and somebody had for sale, I think 4 or 5 stills or something from this. And they were like, he bought them all because he was just like used. And we were like blown away at some of the detail. Not that we didn't know it had a lot of detail, but you just like, I guess when you kind of spend it, when you can dial in, you can just, oh my gosh, look at this is crazy. So, I don't even know who gets the most credit for the level of detail on the animation with all of this because it is just tremendous.
I do know that Toei did work on the animation for this movie, and they worked on animation for season 1, 2, and 3 of the original series. And when you look at artwork like this, how can you not still have a love for cell animation?
Yeah, it's just beautiful stuff. Leia Rose popping in here. Great to see you, lady. Hope you're doing all right. Okay, so this is Floro Dairies Designs. Is that the artist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, he took what was on the box art and for the figures and simplified it. He's the one that gave Ironhide and Ratchet the heads that they didn't have on their toys.
Cool.
One of the things that I feel like also should be talked about is the fact that we get from the first couple seasons Spike, who's now aged up into an adult as well, because throughout the first 2 seasons he's there as the little kid, and as we're coming into this movie he's now a father, and it's now his son who's effectively takes that place.
I actually like
coming
that
with the new characters.
Universal sort of element to this. It kind of just gives you it was definitely a feel of world building that I would not have appreciated at the time, but I appreciate more and more as I rewatch this movie.
In of course the far distant year of 2005.
2005.
You
gotta say it right. You gotta growl it. The year's 2005.
The treacherous Decepticons have conquered the Autobots' home planet of Cybertron.
Starscream, you fool!
That's not a bad Megatron.
You're an idiot, Starscream. When we slip by the early warning systems in their own shuttle and destroy Autobot City, the Autobots will be vanquished forever!
Shoot him, you fool!
Fantastic stuff. Yeah, so I know that Leonard Nimoy we mentioned, Orson Welles, just great voice. Robert Stack, right? Just tons of great stuff. So,
and another thing, seeing Leonard Nimoy's name in the credits, it's like, wait a minute, I know him. He's Spock, because I was getting into Star Trek when I was 7 years old. So it's like, I know that guy.
Baron, that's freaking great. That's a great troll, Baron. That's a good one. Hey there, great to see you, Pop Culture Mechanic as well. Awesome, one of the favorites. Yeah, I know a lot of us are just really reliving and loving that kind of. Loki, because you talked about this too, like begging Dad, and Dad was into a lot of pop culture stuff and that kind of thing. What was Dad's reaction or like to kid Loki needed to get more Transformer toys in his life?
Oh yeah, that wasn't happening.
Oh, all right.
If I had a Transformer, I was really lucky. I think I had Starscream, and that's it.
Yeah, I had a cousin had Optimus. I had Soundwave, and I think my brother had Megatron. And we had neighbors and friends who had 2 or 3 apiece or whatever. They were just we all had one, and then we had neighbors and friends or whatever. And so yeah, it's just tremendous. Oh, look at this! This is beautiful, and it was just traumatizing. And I got to be honest, rewatching it, guys. I know this is the hot take. I was just I don't want to say sad, but I was just very emotional. I was like, oh, and because it's so well done. We didn't have death in cartoons at this point. We didn't really have, like you watch G.I. Joe and Transformers, you have tanks blowing up and ships going down, you have robots blasting each other till the next episode, and then you watch this movie and you're like, wait, what do you mean he's dead? What do you mean he's going gray? What is happening?
Well, much less like throwing them out of their chairs onto the floor and being like, pretty much they didn't just kill them, they bitched them.
Yeah, it was bad.
Think about it. Brawn, being one of the smallest Autobots and toughest Autobots, taking that shot by Megatron's gun mode and dying, and you see him in the series, it's like, no, this is one of the toughest little Autobots there is on the team. And he just dies in one shot?
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. Is this a true trivia thing? Is ginormous a word because of this movie? That's funny if it is. And who doesn't love Scatman? Scatman has so many great voice roles from the 70s and 80s, man. I love Scat.
For me, he'll always be Jazz.
Yeah.
He's one of the Globetrotters. He's got a whole lot of stuff. Hong Kong Phooey work. It's ironic that this movie came out the year before Mel Brooks had directed science fiction comedy Spaceballs. In the movie, when Barf sees the Spaceballs ship has become the maid, he says, yes. It's not just a Spaceball.
It's a Transformer.
Well, also in the scene where Yogurt's, saying, Spaceballs, the flamethrower. If you look at some of the products, some of them are Transformer products. Because you see Optimus Prime on the cover of a book, you see a lunchbox and it's a Transformers lunchbox, but it says Spaceballs on it.
That's funny. I didn't catch that, actually, to be honest. Yeah. Oh, that's great. No, I think that this was an era that we have lost, and they can't get it back now. They've broken the system so much. I don't know how you get it back, because I don't know who the Karen mob was at the time who thought it was just not appropriate to market and PSA these cartoons into us all getting stuff. Oh, there you go. Yeah. It is the Transformers. Yeah. Okay.
Even the lunchbox, you could see part of the box art on that lunchbox, and it says Spaceballs.
Yeah. I just remember going to, it was always a Toys R Us. Toys R Us was the place you'd always want to go if you could get to, because they would have like floor to ceiling displays of action. They had so much more than your local Kmart's and Airways and Zehrs and all these stores. Because this is pre-Walmart, guys. I mean, unless you were out in Arkansas proper, you probably didn't have Walmart back then. And it was mostly Kmart's and places like that, Sears and Eckerd's, and all these stores that pretty much aren't around anymore. And then every now and again, you get to go to the one Toys. We had one in the greater Tampa Bay, Central Florida area. We had one Toys R Us, and it was crazy. It was like there's Hallelujah playing in your head, because it was floor to ceiling toys. And it was crazy. And you would see Transformers you'd never gotten to see, and you'd be told no, and how we can't afford them.
Yeah, I can remember that going into Toys R Us. I can remember that going into the store that was called Gemco.
Oh man, yeah. I don't even know when Gemco died. Holy cow, that's old school reference.
For me, it was KB Toys.
Okay, yeah, KB's was around for quite a while into me having kids, so I don't remember going there as a kid. I'm thinking if we had KB then, if it was a different store in the mall. I don't know. Pat S is here. Great to see you, brother. And TG&Y, TG&Y, for sure. So, my favorite character in this movie, and again, hence the reason that we had the Micro Machine trailer, teaser, commercial. Blur is my favorite. I love Blur. I think Blur is hysterical. Blur gives it just enough of a tension break, and I don't know, Ironcastor, put it in your back pocket. We'll do it the last 15 or 20 minutes of the show or whatever. We'll do that little action figure cut of the battle sequence. They actually do Blur as well in that sequence, which is freaking, it just made me smile and laugh. So yeah, Blur's my favorite character. I really love, and again, meaning that relative to who doesn't love Optimus Prime, who doesn't love all these traditional characters. But
honestly, I would have had you pegged for Cup.
No, I love Cup.
It was a gigantic Ekiak roaming throughout the forest. Yeah. We want good part.
An old timer's what you'll never be.
Good part.
I know the old timers references. I see what you're doing there. Howdy, fellas. Great movie. Yes, Dean Krantz, member for 9 months. Thank you, Dean, for all of your support and friendship, man. Love what you do, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend. It's this is the thing too. When I rewatched this, I just felt so much more of an emotional connection to characters. I'm not trying to take away from the actual animated show, but I think it's like you said, Loki, you're talking about the stakes, you're talking about the death, and it was just the chaos that happens in this movie. It drives such an emotional stake into your heart. I cannot imagine being as young as you were, Ironcaster, seeing this for the first time, or even Mike and Loki. You guys were really young when you saw this. I can't imagine seeing it that young.
I mean, we talk about different actors who voice characters in this movie. Robert Stack, I still feel to this day, added a lot of gravitas to the role of Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Robert Stack.
That was one of the only problems about it, though, is they knew, like, they're not keeping Leonard Nimoy after this movie. So if they keep that character around, and which they were going to do because it's the new big bad guy, they've got to get somebody else to voice it. And they end up having to do a Leonard Nimoy impression of him instead of doing their own interpretation of him. So, what do I need to sound like? Oh, well, you need to sound like this, like Leonard did when he came in and he did the voice. Can I do my own thing? Well, you can't be too far off because it's got to sound like him because the kids just saw him in the movie. That's the only problem, and that was the same problem with Ultra Magnus. Anybody that didn't transfer over, that didn't go, yeah, I'll be a part of the new show. You've got to find new voice talent for it, or you've got to find someone that can sound like them.
Right.
And for a little bit, and I do mean a little bit, Frank Welker was doing a more serious take on Galvatron before they decided to make him completely and totally insane.
Yeah. Pat has to give it some more love for Cup. And it reminds him of his dad. And Bobby says, the whole blitz scene of the Autobot city is probably the best part of the whole movie. They never had such an epic scene in there again. Yeah, that's just, it's so great. It's just so good. Yeah.
And it made you, it really put you in fear of Devastator. Devastator was always kind of like a joke in the series. Yeah, he was big, but he was kind of a joke. They did some really cool shit with that when they had him form Devastator. And it was like, oh no, we're not going to hit you right off the bat with it. We're going to wait, and we're going to keep our big dog in check. And then once we've got you, on your back leg, then we'll send in the big giant Destructobot to tear the crap out of everything and kill you all.
Mm-hmm.
They do a good job of showing the Autobots, like, you could feel the fear. You could see fear of, like, oh crap, it's that way. It's like, what are we gonna do? And I like that a lot. That's a very good point to bring up for sure.
There's a lot of dead Autobots in this stuff too. Like when they're sitting there talking, hearing like just a minute after that, I think it's RC and Springer going somewhere, and boom, there's Ratchet.
And Wheeljack.
Wheeljack. You see Windcharger and Smokescreen.
And they're just laying there with holes in them, and you're like, holy shit. There's so much of that throughout this scene where you will see an Autobot laying there dead. What happened to the Autobots in the shuttle? They died.
Well, and the thing is, there was stuff that was cut that was on the cutting room floor. There was stuff that was storyboarded out that they were planning to further elaborate on, especially with the Autobot city battle that just never got animated.
Yep, and they did the same thing that like nobody was guaranteed to go down. They had replacements for Starscream because they had a new, even though they got rid of the OG jets, they still had a new set of figures coming that they could have made them into. It was kind of like, well, we're not completely sure who all we're gonna kill, but then they just said, you know what, kill the entire G1 line, kill them all. Everybody that came to Earth, except for this person and that person, kill them all. And they did.
If they
holy crap!
If they quit selling, kill them off.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh well, even in this movie, you see Ramjet, Dirge, and Thrust get destroyed. Yet you see them in season 3.
Yep.
Dean Krantz gifted a membership. Thank you so much for that, Dean. I appreciate you and all your support. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. And that went to Princess Leia Rose. So thank you, Dean, for that. I appreciate that so much. Mike's giving his 2 cents here, commenting on everything here as well. So, and I was with Pat then, and I'm still with Pat. Like every time I get there, just hoping Optimus is just in a coma. It's going to be okay. Like they're going to jumpstart him. They're going to do something.
And the thing is, they've even sold like the basically the deathbed Optimus as like a nighttime Optimus.
Oh, that'd be traumatizing. I couldn't do it. I don't want that thing near me. Nos is here trolling as well, talking about how Watto would destroy the Transformers. If you don't know, all Watto love from him. This is one of those movies I bought my nephew as a gift, made sure he knew how cool it was. Very cool indeed. Awesome.
And also, this movie had an effect on G.I. Joe, the movie. Because originally they were going to kill off Duke. But because of the response to Optimus Prime's death, they changed it. They made new lines.
Yeah, they just they literally just erased a line at the end of the movie and was like, "Hey, we heard from G.I. Joe Command. Duke's gonna be A-okay, yay!" And they all celebrate. And that's all you ever. Yeah, you don't know anything more than that. So,
Dean's giving some more love to Leonard Nimoy, of course, and the Autobots that died turned gray like Optimus. Yeah, Wheeljack, Windcharger. Wheeljack appears later in the Transformers victory. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is. It still was just a very traumatizing process to go through, as we've been discussing. It's great. So
yeah, but they made mistakes too. Okay,
Sure.
so half of this movie was scrapped. So, and this was after they started doing all the animation for it, where they went back and recut it again and changed the script. Sunstreaker shows up with Optimus, but Sunstreaker is on Cybertron at the end of the movie, with no way for him to get to Cybertron. There are big mistakes that they made.
there were so many of those type of continuity errors and stuff like that. I try to look at the list a little bit and look at some of the trivia. It made my head hurt. It was just too much for me. I'm too much of a noob. I couldn't do it. I would need a cheat sheet. Yeah, just too much. But it just makes, but it does add and makes the rewatchability of this even more better, because you're always picking up on new stuff. You're always picking up on little details and things like that. So,
And I love this particular scene because Optimus basically lets the audience know how serious this situation is when he says, "Dinobots, destroy Devastator."
it was so good. And I love the fact that we had to call in the Dinobots. And as a kid, you're like, what is happening? And in the beginning, how Devastator just is dispatching them like nothing. Like he's just grabbing Grimlock. He's just he's just tossing them aside. You're like, whoa, that's not how I play with those figures.
And a Looney Tunes moment right there for Sludge. And
yeah, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff.
And here's another thing about the movie. Some people say, well, not all the Dinobots are in it. They're all in it. It's just that Snarl's animation model wasn't passed around to everybody. So that's why you only see 4 Dinobots at a time instead of the typical 5.
Yeah, you know, he's on the beginning part. Yeah, he shows up there. Dean says, not a big fan of Duke. By the way, then don't read the comic book, Dean. Sorry, man. It's the primer coat. They go back to their primer coat. Okay, fair enough. The Fantastic Sludge. That's those eyes. Yeah, cool. I will be honest. As I was rewatching this, I actually was like Googling some of the G1 toys and looking at kind of like what they were going with and kind of how they were incorporating things or not incorporating things like that. Because I just couldn't remember some of those kind of details, and I didn't want to speak out of turn. So I'm glad that you guys can plug in some of those gaps, because for me, I was just so overwhelmed with the deaths and the dismay and the chaos. But man, what a great fight scene! Like it's I don't know what kind of, like, we have a best of animation fight scenes or not, if we have this list of, you know, this kind of era stuff, but I don't know how that Megatron versus Optimus fight scene is not considered one of the best of all times. It's crazy.
I think this
lead
might
up
be
with
my
him.
favorite.
Go ahead, Eric.
I think this little section right here just might be my favorite of the entire movie. Just, you know, right when that you know song kicks in, the do, 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 you've got the touch, and then you get Optimus transforms and he rolls out and he starts rolling over Decepticons just to go have that big grand fight with Megatron. It's just that stuff of like pop culture legend. I don't think there's any other moment in that ever works quite as hard as this one scene. This is by far I think my favorite shot in all of film.
This one would be a great spot too, because there is a quick reflection of Blitzwing in it, and that is a great shot. Totally agree with that. Go ahead, Loki. What you were going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say everything from that point up until the fight. Yeah, that's peak Transformers. Period. All of that. From the moment he transforms, the music starts playing up until the end of the fight with Megatron. That is peak. They peaked. After that, it was all downhill. There's been some bright spots, but I don't think it'll ever get back to that.
Dean, I wasn't disputing the hierarchy. I'm just not as big of a fan of Hawk, because I'm a fan of the guy on the ground, Duke, doing the stuff. So. The Matrix mention is ironic, obviously, as well. Yeah, I thought that was actually kind of funny too. In the rewatch, I kind of picked up on that too. Slasher, thank you so much for bringing that to the table. That's awesome. This is a classic shot. This is just a beautiful shot, and it's used so many times. And then one of the new comics, I think, there's a great cover where they have that as well. So good stuff.
It's in number 3, I think.
Yeah.
And they also took the matrix of leadership from the creation matrix that was in the comics already.
Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Hot Rod does not interfere. Optimus might have lived. Yeah, that was. I mean, that was kind of part of it. That's why I can't forgive myself. I mean, like it was a great moment for sure.
And then we get that iconic stare down. One shall stand, one shall fall. I'll rip out your optics with my bare hands.
Yeah,
You were without mercy. Now plead for it? I thought you were made of sterner stuff.
Yeah, it's so epic. It's just yeah. Yeah, I'm pained though living through it when I know Hasbro made it so. Like I'm still angry. I'm a bitter, jaded fan. I'm sorry. But no, I loved every minute of it. I loved it. It's so much fun.
You can be bitter though, and you can be upset, and you can be like, you know what, you guys made a mistake. They did make a mistake. This was Hasbro. Every version of the movie that came out that they were going to do, Hasbro said, Prime's got to die. Prime's got to die. We don't care who else you kill off, but Prime's got to die. The leader has to die. Optimus Prime has to die. And that was their call. But everybody remembers this movie. I'm just going to say that. Everybody remembers this movie and remembers what they were doing when they saw it for the first time. And, treasure it. Why? Because they did something monumentally stupid, but at the end of the day, we still love the fact that they did something monumentally stupid.
Yeah, agreed. Look at that animation, though. Oh,
I've always loved that shot.
And if you're gonna go out, what a way to go out! You can't. This was the most stand-up, you and me, Megatron, one-on-one fight they could have given him. This is the best. This is the way you want to see Optimus Prime go out, and that's why we still love it. It wasn't cheap bullshit. I think if he got hit anyway, he was going to die anyway. He got cut up. He got blasted open. Even before he got hit by that handgun at the end, I think he was still going to go down. So what a way to go.
Before Death of Superman, there was this. Yes. Hot Rod's function is a cavalier to be protect the king in medieval times. He was doing his job and function. Awesome. Anime Night is here. Hey, brother. Awesome to you, my friend. But look at this, this battle scene and the flipping and the action and the movement and and again, Lancaster, we're such honks now for like detailed backgrounds and stuff like that. It's so intricate. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Oh man, it's so good. Dean's great point. Every warrior wants to go out facing the enemy with no holes in his back. Agreed. Yeah, I still remember. I literally just was like reliving theatrical experiences, sitting there and just watching this movie, just so glued. And when you're watching it for the very first time, you don't know how this is going to go. And we didn't have I don't remember like a Starlog magazine or anything that anyone was talking about that spoiled this or anything like that. I think the very first weekend or so, it was pretty fresh. I don't think most people knew what was going to happen.
No, because even in the TV spot for the movie, they say, "Does Prime die?" It's like, huh? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Does Prime die? He's Optimus Prime. He can't die.
Yeah, and I always go back to the Empire Strikes Back response. When you were a kid and you were watching Empire Strikes Back, you just thought Vader lied. You never believed. We didn't believe Vader was Luke's dad. There's just no way. No, we did not. We just thought it was a lie. And the fact that this was all playing out the way it did, you're like, okay, this is going to be the twist. This is going to be the story, right? This is the thing. So, yeah. Man.
But no, that's not how it plays out.
Oh, so good.
What a way to get there, though. What a way to get there. What a way to get to your story with the death of Optimus Prime.
Yeah, and Peter Cullen has said numerous times in interviews, he and Frank Welker were going through the script, and Peter Cullen's going through the script, and he looks at Frank Welker and says, "I'm getting whacked."
Those two guys. Oh, such goats. Just incredible. That's an addition I need. I need to get a nice signed, Peter Cullen signed, graded Transformers book for the long-term Pops collection. Get that animation though. It's just incredible. Like you say, Loki, it literally is like Death of Superman level of impact on you. I mean, like you're believing it, you're invested in it. There's consequences from it. The villain's not coming out unscathed either. Yeah.
Hell, I can hear the music right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dun 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 dun.
The Decepticons are retreating. Prime did it. He turned the tide.
I like a little detail of Frenzy grabbing Megatron's fusion cannon just to carry it off right behind him.
I agree. I love that little shot. I agree. Which, by the way, Mike, I know we talked briefly before the show. We'll probably get to the comics a little bit later if we can. There's a great reference to this, using the cannon. Just so you know, this if you're gonna like a moment like this, you're gonna love what they do in the comics. It's great.
Nice.
And I just love the fact, like you were saying earlier, look, just the dismay and chaos of battle. Like it's something that I'm not saying the show doesn't have it, but the movie obviously levels all that up. Just levels it all up for sure. We're probably going to jump ahead quite a bit. We still have a lot to get through. It's already 6:30.
Yeah, so we'll jump.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna need a moment. Can't even handle it.
Do not grieve.
Look, I have no shame. I cried when we were watching the end of Wrath of Khan. I have no shame. I've said it here on Talk Hard. I have no shame. So I was an emotional teenager. I was like, listen, these are my heroes. Like, what is happening? Like, my mom was like weeping. She was like, she didn't want to believe it. It already leaked that Spock was dying in Wrath of Khan. So then, the idea that we're sitting through this and I'm watching another hero of mine, like, oh, what the heck is happening? Like, I didn't like. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Daniel was all of us.
That was Pops. Yeah.
That is when I turned to Pops and said,
"Oh,
I have been and always shall be your friend."
I'd be like, start ugly crying. Oh God.
And of course, we can't lose a hero without also losing a villain in the process.
How does it feel, mighty Megatron?
Wait, I still function.
Wanna bet? Starscream!
I love that bit so much. I now have a clip up on my channel to use.
I like the robot chicken where they had Optimus Prime transform into a coffin, making the joke about this scene. I've not seen that. That's freaking amazing. It's hysterical. Wrong, but hysterical. It's good comedy if it can be wrong.
As great as Devastator is, we see when immediately they all start turning to go and fight with one another over who gets the leadership. It's like they don't even get a chance to form Devastator without Frenzy and Rumble like stepping in and just like stopping them. Like, for as great and powerful as they are, like these two little cassette tapes were able to take them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of, yeah. I think the writers trying to figure out what to do and how to hierarchy things like that. But once you get to this point of the movie, I'm just sad Pops. I'm hashtag sad Pops. Yeah, so it's okay. I'll get through it.
And I've heard that the reason why you don't see any of the other combiners, more specifically Menasor, is because they were trying to finalize who was going to be in the second season at the time they were writing this movie.
Well, they hadn't even created the aerial bots when they made this. So they were making this before they ever made the aerial bots.
By the way, I was just gonna quickly say, 100%. Pops had sound waves for a reason. It was such a freaking cool toy. It's I actually to this day I'm still like kind of want to call BS on Hasbro, other than maybe like the price point. I don't understand why they think that people were not buying Optimus Prime. It just had to have been too expensive. If there was a slowdown in sales when we were kids, it's just because it was too expensive. It wasn't because we didn't want to have Optimus Prime. So I've always called a little BS on that part of the argument. So, but yeah, the animation just still holds me. I'm engaged. I just, even though emotionally distraught, I'm like, okay, all right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. We have cool robots out here. Yeah, let's do it.
And like one of the coolest transformation sequences that we've got in this entire franchise.
Yeah, it's epic. It really is. I have to admit how much I love Megatron, even though it's like, weird liking the villain so much as you love the hero. But again, what makes a good hero is a great villain. So,
I think part of it had to do with Frank Welker's voice acting for Megatron. Making that voice as iconic as Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime.
Sure. Unicron shall serve no wine before it's time. Very good. And Dean had met Robert Stack, who said he liked doing this. I got to be honest. I've never heard I've never heard anyone talk negatively about their Transformers life and experience. I've seen Peter and Frank talk a couple times. I've met a few Transformer voice actors. I don't think I've ever heard a negative about it all. As crazy as the Hasbro story is and all of that. So I don't know if anyone has like, so-and-so thinks all this sucked and hated it. I don't know. Did Leonard Nimoy ever speak about the Transformer stuff or anything like that? I don't know. I never heard anything negative. So I'm not as plugged in as you guys are.
Well, the closest we ever got to that really was Orson Welles basically saying he just did this little kind of cash in for like a as he put it, a stupid toy movie.
Yeah, but that's Orson. Yeah, Orson Welles. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I couldn't think of a more pompous character actor at that point of his career. Like he's just, he's literally the shadow of his former self, that part of his life. So yeah, I can see that comment. That makes sense to me.
Since we're talking about Leonard, I'll bring this up. Can you imagine? Well, you can, because I'm sure a bunch of you experienced it, even though you won't talk about it. Hearing that Leonard Nimoy is going to be in a Transformer movie again, and you just immediately know that's going to be the villain of your movie. If Leonard Nimoy is going to be in a Transformers movie, yeah, I know they're the Michael Bay movies that don't really count, but still, he's going to be the bad guy immediately. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If Leonard Nimoy is going to be in Transformers, he's going to be the villain.
100%. It was. I remember covering that story. I remember covering Transformers, through the years, the different movies and whatever. And I remember Leonard Nimoy's been cast. I'm like, well, that was a little too on the nose of a casting. I mean, I thought, well, maybe it'll just be like a cameo bit part. It'll just be like a little, I don't want to say like a cutaway scene or a flash. I thought, well, maybe it'll just be a small, literally 2 seconds of voice. Nope. And it's like, oh, dear Lord. It's just, but this is, again, Loki, we talk about all the time, right? Hollywood can't get out of Hollywood's way. They think that they know things and they're clever, and they're just not at all.
Yeah. Oh, no. Benedict Cumberbatch totally isn't playing Khan.
Oh, don't even get me started. Oh, Jesus freaking Christ.
How dare you bring that up?
Don't even, yeah, you're not allowed to talk. I mean, oh, dear Lord.
How did you get off on
those stories in press and J.J. Abrams? I could not believe that video. I did a whole rant on a radio show for 5 minutes about he's lying to us. I was trying to not bleepity bleep my way through how much I was hating Abrams, literally bold-faced lying to us. I couldn't believe it. And then they have the swap with the whole Kirk thing. Oh, Ironcaster, are you trying to ruin the show for me? Is that what you're doing?
Well, we were talking about the obvious, it's totally not it's totally not the obvious thing, and that's the only other thing that seems so obvious to me.
People tried passing him off as Charlie X, and what's his name from Where No Man Has Gone Before, from the original series.
They tried all sorts of things. And if you remember, also he lied about the Klingons not being in. It's like it was just one lie after another. It's like Mike, see what they do. Let's get back on Transformers. I can't do it. I'm already bleeding from another wound, and now you open up another wound. It's like, how much pops will be? Soon I'm going to turn gray and transform into a coffin as well.
You know what, Pops? If this were my channel, I'd be playing a clip of Megatron saying "extinction to all traitors."
This is
So real quick, I wanted to at least point out and acknowledge that Starscream was on screen here as the Emperor of Cybertron for longer than he was actually in the movie. He gets a whole like 20 seconds, and we've had like 2 minutes. So
it's true. It's true. He's been up on screen like this for a while now. Yeah.
There we go. All's right with the world.
Thank you, Pat.
Here's a hint. Yeah. Yeah, there's your hint, Starscream. He wasn't supposed to die. He was supposed to carry on, but they did it anyway. So
I have heard a couple of reasons why they did it, Loki, and one of the reasons was because the voice actor Chris Collins, also known as Chris Latta, they were having difficulties with him behind the scenes, so they wrote off the majority of his characters.
yeah, but he was on G.I. Joe too. He was coping.
I know.
So, so Unicron shows up on one of the moons where many of our favorite heroes are at, including
Moonbase 2.
Jumper. Yep,
and
that's
also Moonbase 1.
Yeah, and things don't go too well for them.
It isn't even dented.
So all I can do is just praise the animation and stuff like that. I was just so enamored with how beautiful this looked. I was thinking about a couple of the anime projects that you've gotten through with me on Ironcaster, how we're just in the late 70s, 80s animation detail. Again, as a kid, I was watching, Battle of Planets and Star Blazers and things like that. And so much of that is inspired into this movie. And it's just the delicate time spent on details and things like that just make it amazing. Incredible. Thanks, Bobby's giving us all that kind of lesson there. Christopher Latta. Awesome. Yeah, good stuff.
So I'll jump ahead a little bit further. Of course, oh god, this is a great bit here where we had Hot Rod training with the little security bot.
Time out.
Remind me to give the autopilot a race.
Yeah, it's not a lightsaber at all. Just so we're clear. It's not. No,
but it is, but it's not.
It's not a lightsaber at all. That's why it's yellow. It's yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
I love this bit where we're just like on the alien planet with just everything's underwater with all these robot fish and tentacles reaching out, and they gotta like cut their way through, and it's so alien.
I will say this too. I really enjoyed the fact, because I did my rewatch. One thing that really struck me with that was they were trying to go outside the bounds. Like, at least from the creative element, you're like, okay, well, let's try water. Let's do robot tentacles. Let's try this. Let's try. So it wasn't like something very easy. It was still a lot of risk taking. Forget about just what we've already talked about with the death of characters. Like, it's like they're still trying to do some different things and try some different avenues, and it's still. It just all works in a really, really solid way. Look how much detail there is in that. Yeah, that's so beautiful.
There's a bunch of shots like these.
Yeah. These are almost like storyboards for like when we thought Prometheus would be good. That's what storyboards look like. When I was like, oh, this might actually be pretty good. And you see all these storyboards look like that. Yeah, this is beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Good stuff. What about you guys in chat? You guys kind of chime in on a chat where you guys come in on this movie as we're headed towards our final 30 minutes and that kind of thing. We'll make sure I get everybody a chance to chime in and say their piece, especially with the latter half of this movie. Yeah, I was still reeling from the first. And it was even worse. I got to be honest. Even worse that the main character, the character I came to see, is gone and been gone a while, and I'm still going through all of this. But I'm enjoying the movie. I really am, and I really do like it. Even to this day, I still do enjoy enjoy watching it. But look at that. This is just beautiful work.
I adore the Junkions as this idea. there are these guys that kind of keep falling apart, kind of keep pulling themselves back together, and then they're a bunch of nonsense made up of all just like scrambled radio TV signals that where they speak TV.
We talk
Don't
TV.
touch that dial. But wait, there's more.
And now the news. Don't touch that dial.
I like that was a really cool tie-in to like the Transformers movie, the Michael Bay one, that with Bumblebee's voice, that thing being wrong, he spoke radio or whatever. I thought that was fine, and that it made me feel nostalgic to this and those type of approaches in the Transformer verse. Oh, we lost Mike for a minute. What happened there? Okay, hopefully everything is all right.
He was found innocent.
Oh, he had a problem with his computer, so sorry about that. Okay, he'll be right back. But better half of the movie was the soundtrack. Dare to Be Stupid still makes me smile. Well, Dare to Be Stupid was such a great song. We already knew Dare to Be Stupid before this came. I just, yeah, Al was something special. So, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, no, I think I agree. Ironcaster, I love. Again, I think of it, doing the junk thing, doing the way they talk, doing things like that. It all still felt so new and fresh from the show and where we were in the show, and now because there's so much more to go on, it's good to see. And then I will say it's also good to see how it gets to once you get to Daniel and his role and things and trying to be the hero in his own right and things like that. I feel like they did such a good job of trying to change things up and not follow like a formula that we all kind of knew and expected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel was still useful in the story itself. He wasn't just like there to sort of to solely fall into danger and always having to be rescued.
Yeah, and he wasn't just like just Spike's kid. You know what I mean? It was like Mike brought it up earlier. It's like we have a different generation, we have a different timeline of when this is going to take place. So we could carry on with the TV show, and this is going to end up out there at some point. And here we have Daniel actually has a role and a purpose and things like that. So little things like that I actually thought really did well. So anyway, we ultimately get to Optimus Prime, and we get to the big fight with Galvatron, and yeah, good stuff.
Then, of course, we got to have another little moment of, we've grown our weep ninny bong. But, unlike before with the little Sharkticons, it actually works here.
Well, don't forget Death of Ultra Magnus, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
90 days or 12,000 miles, whichever's first, for your warranty. Grimlock gets a kiss in there. It's, and then, of course, by the end of the movie, it's all about the matrix of leadership. Galvatron takes it, thinking he can use it to get back at Unicron, who's now basically controlling him and is basically going to psychically punish him if he dares step out of line. And he tries to go to Unicron with it, having no idea about how to even use it.
It was a little complicated for us kids too. You guys were really young. I think at the time it was kind of like there's a lot of complexity with what they were doing with the story. I liked it a lot.
Well, there's
also holds up so well.
There's also this thing, they don't let off the gas pedal at all in this movie. They either one of two things. Either they were really high when they wrote all this, or they were coming from the idea that we're going to have 5, 6, and 7-year-olds in there watching this. We have to keep them watching the entire time. If they leave, then parents are going to be pissed and wasted money and yada, yada, yada. So once we get them there, we have to keep them there. For an hour and a half, they keep you there. There is no, it's like, oh, they're going to get to take a breath. Nope. Here come the Decepticons. They're attacking. This person's about to die. It's constant throughout the whole movie. Something is happening.
Yeah, I agree. And again, this is the frustration with a movie like this. The standard gets high. This is why I can't concede my standard when I see movies that are boring. And it's only 90 minutes. Can you not entertain a kid for 90 minutes? Look at this. This movie was done from 1986. Come on. Get your head in the game. It's a fast pace. You have to have a fast pace. Be creative. Be interesting. Add new characters. Put them in weird environments. have them say weird and crazy things, doing weird and crazy things. And we're going to love this thing for years. It's like 40. Oh, well, this is 30 something years later, but 40 years later, we're still talking Transformers for a reason. So here's Mike. He's back. Cool.
Well,
Mike,
I would say probably.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, go ahead, Ironcaster.
I'll say probably one of the few complaints I can really say is, at the very end of the movie, here's now Optimus Prime saying it's over, the wars are over, when there's no Decepticons here. No, he's just saying the war's over when the war's really not over.
The over optimism. Mike, take us on a little bit on some of your thoughts on the last part of the film and the big battle and stuff like that.
Well, I like the fact that you see the Junkions and the Autobots team up together to battle Unicron, and even the Decepticons have to team up with them to battle Unicron to try to save Cybertron. And, you see Unicron take Galvatron and swallow him, and there's a battle between Hot Rod and Galvatron in the pits of Unicron. Meanwhile, you see Daniel finding Spike and the other Autobots who were also captured by Unicron, and it just really leads up to one large epic battle. Everybody's fighting for survival. The survival of the Autobots, Decepticons, and Cybertron, and Unicron wants their destruction.
Yeah. Again, like we said, so it's got a complexity to it, and I really like that. I like the fact that it's just not some cheesy, simple storyline. It's just done well. Really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. Final thoughts to go around a little bit. Loki, let you start, my friend.
Well, like you guys were just saying a minute ago, you didn't just have, the Junkions and the Autobots fighting. You had the Decepticons fighting too. So maybe that's why, at the end, Rodimus comes out and says something monumentally stupid, which she does incessantly in the TV series, where he says, the wars are over till all are one, because they just had to come together, all of them come together and fight this thing and destroy it. Maybe that's why the Decepticons were kind of broken without Megatron, aka Galvatron. And they continue to be until he comes back in the series, which it's all. I hated the third season anyway, but it's a great movie, man. Even with the problems that it had, even with because that pacing is like, you sit and you watch. There is no getting up. There is no going to the bathroom. There is no break. You watch this until it's over. And it's only 90 something minutes, but you're there for that whole 90 minutes. So any movie that can keep you in your seat, keep you there, and keep you from wanting to go, you know what, I'm going to get up and go get a snack and a drink, and I'm going to go, use the bathroom. Shit, more power to them.
Yeah, this isn't that kind of movie for sure. I agree. That's what it's to me. Its strongest points is the fact that it's so well paced and it's so well animated that whatever issues you can kind of nitpick into it or whatever just kind of fall to the wayside. It's so rewatchable, so much fun. And Chi dropped in. Hey man, you're doing all right, brother. Ironcaster, where are you at on this, man? Where does this movie kind of score? You'd like to score? I don't always score. Well, we can do a score if you want.
It's the thing is, this is like, if as far as we're all concerned, this is the only Transformers movie that really matters. The first live action movie is at least kind of worthwhile enough for the novelty of having the live action movie, but this is the only movie that matters. This is the one that no one really has any real complaints about outside of that little nitpicks here or there. Like, this is the one that everything's held up on. This is in sort of 80s Star Wars story for that next generation following Star Wars, of a hero rising up from the ranks of being the everyday person to fight off the great evil.
Yeah. Soul Assassin, I think we're all in agreement with you, man. This movie does not feel like 90 minutes. It's so well done at Flying Fly. That's kind of what Loki was saying too with this pacing. It's beautifully done. That's part of the reason it's hailed and hold up so well. Zach's also be able to drop in. Great to see you, brother. And Chi says, yeah, watch this in theaters, man. Awesome. Love those Marvel comic books too. Yeah, awesome. We're all with you, man. We're all with you there. You really hit the nail on the head too with something probably doesn't get enough credit is Star Wars wrapped right with Jedi, right? So Jedi's done. You have this big animation boom where you have really the big three: Transformers, He-Man, Thundercats, and GI Joe. There's stuff that had been around for a couple of years, but there's other stuff that are just kind of starting, getting its legs going. But with this movie, it really, really cements Transformers in a different way. In a seriousness, as we talked about, because we had death and dismay and chaos and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, good stuff, very good stuff. So if I had to score it, probably a strong 3.5 out of 5. Kind of leans towards 4 because of the nostalgia stuff for me personally. But if I had to score it objectively, probably more like a 3.5. But it's more like a solid 8 out of 10 for me personally. But I give it a little bit of a lean because I just love Transformers more. But Mike, how about you, my friend? Give final thoughts on this experience and thoughts like that.
This is the movie, even being at the age I'm at now, I'm not afraid to say it, 46, that I still love to watch because it brings me back to being a kid again, and all my memories of sitting there in the theater watching it on the big screen and seeing the events unfold, being so passionate about this franchise that I consider the foundation of my fandom. Without Transformers, I wouldn't be watching Star Trek, Star Wars, and so many other franchises that are out there. Yes, I loved He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, so that was my introduction to fantasy. But it was Transformers that was my introduction to sci-fi. So I love this franchise, even to this day.
And it's also fun because now I'm at a point where I know the series, I know the franchise enough that I can probably name about 95% of every character that appears on screen, even the ones that don't even have a single line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good stuff. Very good stuff. Transformers, Mask of the Phantasm, make all the comic book movies animated. Yeah, great stuff. So, okay, anyone else, other show and tell? You guys first before I get to the comic books. Ironcaster, you had more stuff, I think. Handy or no?
I just kind of primarily had the couple things here, my little studio series stuff. By the way, this popped out. That Steelbook is well worth it. Like yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Beyond good, beyond evil, beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah, super nice. Yeah, no, I promised Mike we'd show at least a few things. So yeah, I have the different covers and some of the different transfers. So I've sold a lot of them, so I don't have every single one, but they're all for sale. So that's part of the problem, right? You just do what you got to do. So this is issue number 1, the 1 intended variant. Usually sells for about $10. So it's nice. Optimus Prime has I have a graded version of that too. And then this is kind of the action packed of the throwdown of Optimus versus Starscream. And some of these different ones, you have character covers. These are, that $8 range kind of price on some of those, as well as that one. Just beautiful. It's just such a good job of making us feel like we're in that era. Let's see. Then once you get into issue number 2, you have a little bit of that. I like this one because it's where we actually get our little Duke cameo in issue number 2. So I like the fact that we're getting what Duke had to experience, and then Optimus. And this is one I think. Loki, I think this is the one you got, right? One of the ones you got where Optimus is transforming, jumping off the cliff.
I got one of those.
And I know Ironcaster, you're like me. You love these character covers that they started doing.
Oh yeah,
with Duke, because Duke does show up in issue number 2. And then again, more action. You can tell how successful this is too. If you guys don't know comic books, they're already into like 4th and 5th printings. This is where we're at now with 4th and 5th printings. There's so many things that are and they just keep coming up with something different and interesting. They tend to lend themselves to the stuff that everybody wants. Look at that. This is the one I cannot believe I was able to get one of these. I couldn't believe I was able to get a Megatron. So, but it only $5. Probably more than that. And then I just got these. Well, Loki, you weren't here when I showed them. So I just got these. So this was now we're up to 5th printings on issue number 1. They do this one.
Oh.
And then they do a line art.
Nice.
Like once you see it, it's hard to unsee it. It's so cool how it's in there. Yeah. Super cool. So yeah, it's one of those high points of comics right now is to be able to enjoy the stuff that's happening with Transformers. So.
But wait, there's more because not only do they have all the new stuff that Pops has got.
I didn't have the old ones handy. They're in the long-term box.
So that's
the miniseries.
The miniseries.
Oh,
so
I love that cover.
Yeah, that's what she was talking about. The miniseries.
And then number 2, where they're fighting the Sharkticons, and the last one they fight Unicron. So all 3, OG movie, Transformers the movie.
Yeah.
Comic book read along, whatever you want to call it.
And then I just want to bring this up to show that in stores tomorrow will be issue number 7 for Skybound. So go get that while you can. This should be the start of a whole new story arc. So if it's as good a place as any to jump in. And also, look at that cover.
Yeah, it's super cool. All right. Mike's got the Legacy. All right. Look at that.
Galvatron. I have that.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Mike, are you someone who doesn't take your toys out of the box?
He's muted.
He's muted, buddy.
I actually do take them out of the box, and then I put them back into the box.
Oh.
But for the Masterpiece collection that I do have, most of them are out of the box, with the exception of MP10 and also Grimlock.
Unicron is one of the most expensive Transformers. I don't understand why Zax is scissoring hen. What's happening there, Zax? I don't understand what's going on there with that scissoring hen reference. Do I have the ones that form the puzzle? I have to look. I don't know. So, as anyone would expect, if I recommended something like this, it's because I love it, which means I try to get them as much as I can. But that means a lot of you guys want them. So, a lot of them are coming and going. So I don't know if I have it intact. If you give me more details, Bobby, I know exactly which ones they are. I can probably tell you if I have a whole set of those. I don't know. I doubt it. So, because I didn't get a lot of. I don't even know if I have all of issue. If I have 4s, do I have any 4s left? I don't even know. So, every time I go into certain shops, I went to a shop. I don't know if you heard the story, and I went to one of the closest local shops. I'd never been into this one. They're not open when we go to town because I usually travel on Sundays. And I went in. They had no Conan. They had no Transformers. Yep. They had no G.I. Joe. They had one issue of Void Rivals, but it was loose. They didn't bag and board any of their new comics, which is, to me, a death nail for how many people in the market who want their books to be in good condition. I'm not saying that, you can't read them. I'm just saying that you would want as a retailer, you shouldn't alienate your customer base by not bagging and boarding any of them.
Yep.
And anyway, Void Rivals, it was an issue. It was completely rad. Obviously, people spent up there being handled, which is fine. If that's your sample book, I think you should do that. If I bought 10 of them, I make one a sample book. You go in, you read it, whatever. It's not really for sale until we're done with it. And no, but anyway.
Yeah, but if none of them have been bagged and board, that's the first thing I noticed.
Shelf. Makes no sense. I don't understand people. Yeah, it's not. They're not really taking this part of comics seriously. They're into gaming and Funkos and all that stuff, which is to each their own. But it's in the name, something comics. I'm not going to call them out, but I'm not going back. They're kind of a waste of my time.
Well, some of them are just lazy. They know, like there's one place that me and Eris go every once in a while, just to see like figures what they have, because I know what comics they're gonna have. How do I know what comics they're gonna have? I knew before I walked in there that they would not have any of the new Thundercats. They would not have any of the new Transformers. They would not have any of the Conan. Why? Because as he will tell you, I ordered that stuff for the people on the pull list, but I don't have room for it if they don't come and pick it up. Okay.
Silly. It's someone that's not connected to what's going on, which is fine if you're not going to do that. And I do understand that you could be in a market, but again, that's why you have pull lists. If someone wants to continue, they're buying every single Spider-Man or X, they're keeping all their runs fine. That's totally cool. But I wouldn't be buying a whole shelf full of this crap because no one's reading it. So anyway, so let's go back and complete our thought. Zach for the scissoring hand. Do I need a reason? No, guess not. Chris Purchase, I agree. Guess we don't. We just wanted to know why. But we might have missed something, Zach. We didn't know. So get in touch with Tommy. He's a huge Transformer lore expert. Cool. Yeah. And have a book that documented every single GI Transformer. Cool. Very cool. Very cool indeed. So what are you showing me? What are you showing me, Ironcaster?
I'll just kind of find some little news stories. I was like, hey, this is kind of interesting. That not necessarily show worthy, but it was just like a little something, okay. For anyone who's curious, since it got brought up, Skybound is putting out a compendium of the original, I think, G.I. Joe Marvel comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I think it'd be the first
work out well there. Obviously they're continuing because they had introduced, they have a Cobra Commander line and Duke, which all it's all the same universe, and we're going to see more of this with Destro, with Scarlet, some things like that. Even though I'm not as high on the creative team. We'll see what happens, but because Joshua Williamson is hit and miss and crap in the DC universe. So the fact that he's been so good in Energon just shows they can do good things when they want to. So, yeah.
I just hope they get around. To doing the Marvel UK stuff for Transformers, because that is some of the best stuff.
Okay. Yeah, it's great to see an IP like this, kind of energize fans and bring fans back. And like I said, when I went to this comic store, obviously I'm looking at back issues too. So when I said there were no issues with Conan, there were no mainstream back issues of Conan left at all. There was 4 or 5 rando, like, like a 2008 series or something like that. It's just, no one wanted that stuff. There wasn't any Transformer back issues left, and there was nothing. So I look at that part as a positive. I mean, people went in there and cleaned all that out. But my shop that I go to regularly, I'm the one cleaning them out. So I try not to go on the Wednesday when the stuff first drops because I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, I go in and there's only 2 left. I'm just taking both of them. So I'd rather have them and find them into hands of people who love this stuff, because and I want to keep that shop open. So they've been nice people. We'll see. I reached out to see if they come on the channel. I have not heard back. We'll see. I don't think some people want to do YouTube. I think they're nervous now. They cancel pigs, as some people are calling them now, have made things sort of uncomfortable for retailers. They don't want to be out there talking and put themselves out there because they saw what happened with this one guy. So yeah. But yeah, good show. Good topic, guys. I'm glad we were able to, again, spin our wheels on some positive stuff.
Well, real quick, why don't we go around, just as kind of a last minute thought, who is everyone's favorite Transformer out of the franchise?
All right. Mike?
That's a tough one because I like so many of the characters. Off the top of my head, Ironhide.
Cool.
And I'll tell you why, because he was that gruff, ready to charge into battle soldier, and willing to do anything that it took to defeat the Decepticons.
That's cool. Very cool. What about you, Loki?
Oh, it's got to be OG Megatron.
Okay. What about you guys in chat? You guys got favorites? Come on. Zach's into Grimlock. That's a good choice.
Me Grimlock.
Yeah.
For me, it's some of the the Beast Wars characters, like their Dinobot and Tigerhawk were 2 of my favorite ones as kids, and getting into some of the more recent stuff, characters like Tarn, like I absolutely love some of those concepts, like the DJD, and of course Soundwave. There's just frankly too many characters to pick from to kind of get it down to like a top 5 even.
Devastator. Does a Devastator, does a combiner count as one, or do you got to count all his little buddies with him? So, Devastator. Definitely be a villain. As much as I love Prime and the Autobots, it's definitely going to be a villain as the top.
I would even take Swindle as one of my favorites.
Good call.
Scorponok.
I love Soundwave. I've always loved Soundwave. It was my favorite when I was a kid. It was Soundwave. But yes, it was crazy how cool it was to have that as a kid. But yeah, I'm with Loki too. OG Megatron. But I have to be honest. I mean, Prime is kind of like my Luke Skywalker, right? It's just that sort of, he's Batman, Superman. He's this ultimate hero, and I feel bad trying to pick against Optimus, but yeah, Soundwave's probably my favorite. But it's a cool factor rather than these great story arcs or anything.
And it's a character that they've tried to go and they've tried so many times to reinvent Soundwave from a toy design, go with anything else, but the fan base is like, no, we want a boombox.
Yeah, we need
put him back as that, we will riot.
Yeah. I think he in one of the movies. He was an MP3 player or some shit like
Something
that.
stupid. It was just such a letdown. Yeah. Dinobot Beast Wars getting some more cool love there. Yeah, great stuff.
That was sort of my introduction to the idea of like the honorable hero, like that character who had a whole code of honor. That was where that concept was introduced to me. That's where I learned that.
He had such a great character story arc as far as any Transformers show is concerned. If you haven't watched Beast Wars, I highly recommend it because it is serialized and you do get invested into these characters.
Very cool.
Even down to that iconic snarl of his that.
I have to do another rewatch of that kind of stuff. I've enjoyed all of it. So, John, great to see you, man. Thanks for hopping in here.
Don't forget Beast Machines, which is pretty much the last season of that.
I try to forget Beast Machines.
How it ended.
MP3 player. Cool.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. So, wow, we did it. We went through what is kind of an emotionally tumultuous movie for me. I have to be perfectly honest. I was like, wow, this is going to be... I thought I could get through it twice, and I only got through it once. I actually I don't know. I have a hard time. So, Beast Wars, well, I think it's on Tubi as well, Soul Assassin. There's tons of Transformers and Joe and stuff like that on there as well. So, Chris loves Soundwave. Soundwave shows up. Things are going to get real. Interesting for all voice actors. The Beast Wars characters takes me right out of it. Megatron and Soundwave are John's, Shaggy's favorites.
And they're all still around, so there was no reason why you couldn't get the original voice actors for Beast Wars other than they didn't want to pay them.
They want to do it.
So real quick, let me ask you guys a question. Since we're still on the subject of Transformers, have you ever heard of a little cover band called the Cybertronic Spree?
I have.
Wow. Okay. No, I am not familiar, but it does not shock me that there isn't something cool like that. What's it sound like? What is it?
So they by and large do a bunch of they do a bunch of covers of like Transformers stuff. They've done they put out a whole album that is just the Transformers the movie soundtrack, like complete down to doing a music video for Dare to Be Stupid where they got Weird Al.
Very cool. Very cool. Yep, some folks are down with that. So.
Someone had to go to the bathroom really fast there.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what happens there. It's like there's cornfields across the road for you, but people insist on like use it like a racetrack.
Okay. All right. Loki, what's going on tomorrow? What's going on the rest of the week, my friend?
We've been, kicking ass, taking names. Come by, check out the Mornings of Mischief. 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be doing YouTube Talk tomorrow. I think we're going to have a guest. I think we will, but I'm not 100% sure. So I did invite him, so we'll see if he shows up or not. And then, on to getting through the rest of the week and getting the hell out of here.
All right, man. All right. Ironcaster, my friend. We'll schedule luck for you, brother.
Here in about an hour or so, I'll be on with T-shirt historian for the Week in Geek, for our little midweek in Geek, where we'll be kind of doing a little bit of update on things, because we will no doubt be having to talk about Wizards of the Coast, but they sure love to put their foot in it. Monday nights on my channel, you can find me doing the Mech Pit chat, where we talk about all kinds of fun little robot stuff, and from Transformers and superheroes and Sentai and Kamen Rider and just all that stuff you look at and just goes, that's cool.
It is cool. Very cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Mike, my friend, you did a great show on reaction to this like a couple weeks ago. So we'll try to, I'll try to retroactively pull that link and put that in the description so folks you can catch that as well. But yeah, talk about your channel and what the schedule looks like for you, my friend.
All right. Well, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and Baron Norman Tag, Cash Money 007, and myself will welcome DJ Ronnie G as our guest. We'll ask him about his YouTube journey and also a few other questions, and also just make it a relaxing stream for everybody to tune into. And then Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be playing more of the 2015 Mad Max game. I'm getting closer to the end, and I do want to complete it on stream. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday will be Pacific Forum 4 Pop Talk.
That's good stuff. Yeah, it's usually my big show of the week when I get to that. So that's awesome. It's awesome. So, well, guys, it's been great. Such a great movie. Such a fun time. 40th anniversary of Transformers is a great time to just relive that however you like, whether you're into toys or shows, comics, whatever it is, man. Get out there and try to just find some positive things to uplift your spirits and make you happy on the inside. So, but yeah, guys, gentlemen, I appreciate you so much. Mike, I can't thank you enough for being in here, dropping so much expertise. All of you in chat, you guys are amazing. Wish I could have had more of you guys here as well, because so many of you guys are dropping all sorts of knowledge bombs on the old pops as well. Yeah, good stuff. Next week, some Ghostbusters talk. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance to see Frozen Empire, we'll have to talk about it briefly, I'm sure. But it'll be the 40th anniversary of Ghostbusters as well this year. And we can talk a little bit about like where are we at on this IP? Like where are we at on this? Where's it going? How good is it? Is it overrated, underrated? What are we thinking? And we have Troy Pacelli in the house. He's a master at the old Ghostbuster stuff. So we have that in there next week. So make sure you check that out. And make sure you click those links. Get over there. Make sure you're subscribed to everybody. Make sure you got those bells and whistles all pressed so you can kind of know when things are happening to the best of your ability. And just have good content, good digest content. Good things make your spirit happy, make you good in the inside, my friends. And who knows better than that than good old Bob Ross. So you guys take care, have a good week, and until next time, chill with old Bob. Bob Ross.